Good evening, Trade Flare family. Welcome back to the nightly breakdown, where we break down what happened today in the stock market, as well as give you an idea of what we're looking at into tomorrow. Now, before we head over to conduct a technical analysis of the SPY and 5 stocks, let's look at some key points to get a broader view of where we stand. So the first key point I want to talk about heading into the week is the conditions that we have right now, and they are favorable. The June PMI that we got last week showed us that output across the private sector expanded at a historical rate. The manufacturing index expanded to a record high since 2007, while services are still lagging. Now I really want to watch to see if these service numbers pick up a little bit faster. That could be a catalyst, that could be the next boost of the recovery. We're also seeing data that the private business sector forward earnings continue to rise. If you look at it this way, earnings are rising faster than the market right now. Forward PEs, valuations don't look as bad right now, so we really could start to see some positioning for earnings. Earnings season's going to really kick off this week. We're going to get Bed Bath & Beyond, Micron, General Mills, McCormick's, and H&M. Next key point I want to talk about is the emerging markets, and with these conditions being favorable, with these emerging markets, they're going to have a lot of debt. They're going to be foreign companies with a lot of debt, so they feed off of financial conditions that are favorable. So we did see this on Friday. We saw EEM, which is the emerging markets ETF. They were up, so I'm really watching these emerging markets. I really like the financial conditions. I really like how these China stocks have been running. We made a lot of money off the BABA calls. We've been expecting this. We really need to keep our eye on the emerging markets because there's a lot of motion going on. There could be a lot of opportunity, so definitely keep your eye out on these. So let's head over to our last key point, which is, as always, our indices and our sectors. And the leading indice on Friday was the Dow. Right behind was the SPY, and the NASDAQ was the lagger. Leading sectors were financials, utilities, consumer staples, and consumer discretionary. The financials led off of that stress test news, and we had expected this. On Friday, we had a necessary down day for the tech sector, which has been on fire on its recent tear. This also showed in those growth stocks that have been running up. We saw the banks dominate on Friday. The banks look really strong at the moment, so I think we could go higher. So now that we have a broad idea of where we stand, let's dive into our analysis, starting off with the SPY ETF, which tracks the S&P 500 index. And looking at the weekly here, we have two opposing candles, both engulfing the candle in front of them. And looking at this, I'm gonna believe the most recent candle, but I do also want to keep in mind that these are a lot of shorts covering. So we've got poor structure in this area. We bounce down, bounce right back really quick. Now it looks bullish. I believe this candle, but that is something to keep in mind. But as this candle stands, this is a bullish candle supported by some nice volume. If you look at the daily here, you'll see what I mean by poor structure. We've got a lot of gaps. And the 2 days before Friday, we saw a really tight range, and we still didn't see a huge range on Friday. So this really doesn't tell me that there's breakout buying going on yet. Not a lot of new long positions are being created, but rather shorts are covering. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that we have a fund rebalancing that goes on every quarter. Mutual funds will, send statements to show their returns over the past 3-month period, and they'll rebalance the portfolio. This is when you get to see where those funds are putting their money. Excuse me, not just mutual funds, but hedge funds as well. And it's very important to see where these hedge funds are putting their money. If they were starting to cover last week with the rebalancing, that means that this could be a really bullish quarter upcoming. So we'll also get an idea of where these funds are rebalancing this week. So this week should be very interesting. As far as support levels, I'm really looking at the 424 level. We've seen some general acceptance above that price, and if we start to see some prints below that, could start to be time for another pullback. And the market's been hot, it could stay hot. We're also long overdue for a 5% pullback, so we can still make our trades. We still have that idea in the back of our mind. So let's head over to the watch list, starting off with Uber, ticker symbol Uber. Looking at candle structure, hammer candle closing right above this 5171 level, and I really like this. It's also right at that 50-day SMA with a lot of volume. A lot of people are looking at this right now, so watch Uber. And like I said, we're looking for services to pick back up, and we are expecting services to pick back up in the summer, and that could be the next leg up of the recovery, so watch out for Uber. Next up is Caesars Entertainment, and this is another recovery play as well as a hammer candle, and I do think investors are going to start to position themselves right here before the next upcoming earnings. And if we do break above this 106.6 and this 20-day SMA, I think we'll see all-time highs again, so watch out for Caesars Entertainment. Next up is Salesforce.com, and looking at this recent consolidated range, if we do break above this resistance trend line at 246.50, that would look really nice, but I'm also interested to the downside with that red volume there. So this range is interesting. I'm watching the levels 246.50 and 239.45. As it lies right now, it looks pretty bullish. It looks like a bull flag consolidation, so keep your eye on the break of this for a possible run all the way up to $270. Next up is Altria, ticker symbol MO, and Altria moves a lot like the Dow. And with the Dow being a leader for the past few days and Altria doing really well, the volume on Friday was actually really encouraging, and we did engulf the previous week's range. And with wheat hype kind of popping up again, I really want to keep my eye on Altria because they have their hands in marijuana as well. And lastly, let's head over to do a member suggestion, which is PCRFY Panasonic. And we saw some news on Friday about Panasonic selling all of their shares in Tesla. And this is interesting because the company said it tended to allocate its funds for growth investments. One of the investments that they've been rumored to be making is a US supply software provider called Blue Yonder Holdings. Now, Tesla still has Panasonic batteries, but they are no longer a stakeholder in Tesla. So this news and interpretation is the reason we see this volume on Friday. And the gap up above the 50-day SMA and the close above these highs at 1182 is interesting. So I am watching Panasonic into the next week. The first resistance level that I'm looking at would probably be 1234, which will be a previous support level. But definitely keep your eye on Panasonic into the upcoming week. And that wraps up tonight's nightly breakdown. If you enjoyed the video, if you gained value, or if you learned something, make sure you hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you can get notified whenever we post any live or educational content. If you're looking to join our team and be surrounded and motivated by our online community of traders and investors, as well as gain access to trade signals that let you know whenever we make a trade, check out the link in the description below to join our Discord, gain full access by upgrading to TradeFlare Pro, get half off your first month using the discount code TFPRO2021. But don't be mistaken, we are not financial advisors and none of this is a recommendation. The stock market is risky and you could lose money, so use the information inside these videos at your sole discretion. And as always, you cannot forget that time is your most valuable asset, so quit wasting it. Get up, get out, and go get it, my friend.